time in life, Shane Palmer, Onda Plus. So if you're 40 and single, watching everyone else move on, engagement, babies, careers, milestones, it can feel like nothing's happening for you. Like you're stuck, like you missed a train. But I'm telling you the truth, everyone has their time. Life isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Sit with yourself in silence. Follow what your heart actually desires. Spend time doing the inner work. Stillness, that space, that's where answers really live. I dated for years, saw red flags, I guess some same draining patterns. So I stayed single for like 5-6 years. It wasn't because I couldn't be with someone, it's because I refused to settle. Friends would ask me, why be so picky? Why not just have fun? But they didn't really see what I saw. The energy, the time wasted, everything. If it wasn't aligned with me, I wouldn't entertain it. We've got to be selective with life, not rude and dismissive about it, but intentional. People might appear like they've got it all figured out, but trust me, no one knows shit. Everyone's just coasting through life like the rest of us. Some of us just look like we've got it together, but yeah. Some people just went shopping when they were excited, when they were hungry. And they pick stuff up that they probably will never eat or never wear. You don't walk into a restaurant and pick at random. You look at the menu, decide what you want, what you don't want, then figure out what you actually do want. You take your time, you ask questions. And the truth is, we can only grow into what we've been exposed to. If we, I used to hang out in nicer areas, friends, girlfriends that live there, set aside, empty car garages, staring at the calms that I dreamed of. Now, I'm surrounded by wealth every day. Not just money, but mindset, freedom, energy. And when you're around it, you realise something really powerful. Anyone can do this, trust me. I've worked with and consulted with executives from top-tier companies, Harvard, Princeton, alumni, directors of the UN, you name it. And even then, there's things that they can't do, that you can. And that's your superpower. So start by writing it all down. What you enjoy, what you desire. Writing is a real energy connection to the universe. You're putting it out there with meaning. Write it, visualize it, manifest it. I manifested my wife on a solo trip to Naples. I met some strangers, some backpackers, all kinds of different energies. We explored the city, shared stories, ate some of the best food in the world for about €3 to €5. When the group started to part ways, I took myself to Amalfi Coast solo and had a lobster feast by the sea. That trip wasn't about finding someone, it was about finding myself. And that energy, that alignment, it planted the seed for everything that came after. When you know what you want and what you don't want, and you don't accept anything that doesn't match your vision for your future, that's when the universe starts to align for you. It tests you and it starts to reward you for holding the line and holding out for the best things, for things that align with you. Because like Dave said, there's probably a girl right now in your phone that you hardly text that's looking for love, but everybody wants what they can't touch. Oddly enough, I remember thinking about my wife when I heard those words once upon a time. So it's quite funny the way the world works. The person you're meant to build with might already be in your world, be in your circle, but unless you ask the question, the answer is always going to be no. When you're distracted, watching TV, scrolling, procrastinating, I guess you leak your energy, you delay your destiny. But when you go all in on yourself, not with ego, but with purpose, with focus and faith, you start to find paradise. And that's when things really begin to fall into place. I never planned to live in Geneva or Canary Wharf or buy houses in America when I was 23, cash. But life, alignment, choices, they took me there, and I regret nothing. I learned everything I could. And let's be real, You only learn through the shit. Success doesn't teach you anything. It just reveals who you are. One of my old bosses, Neil Slade, he taught me his lessons that'll stay with me for life. But one particularly that stands out is that when you're green, you're growing, and when you're brown, you're dying. He changed my life, not just with that, but with the way he pushed me to think differently. And through him, I found Zig Ziglar. Since then, I've never been the same again. I love Zig. Rest in peace to a real one. He impacted more lives than we could imagine. If you're looking for pure, positive, powerful energy, Zig is the GOAT. Go study him, Zig Ziglar. Since the crash and the recovery, I just want to give it all back. I want to share what I've been and what I've seen, and there's a reason why I'm still here. A reason why I defied the odds, a reason why I recovered, and a reason why I smashed it in nearly every industry that I stepped into. Haters will try and downplay your wins, and that's one of the signs. You know, you only lived because you were young. Weak argument. Granted, but how about teaching myself to speak again, you know? To remember, to build confidence, to use my entire left arm again. Enough to smash 2 tough mudders with a metal plate and 19 screws in my arm. Luck, I guess. God loves all of his children. Some people may have it easier, but your journey is yours, and it's yours alone. No one will make them choices for you. So I'm inviting you to take time out for yourself, often, quietly, deeply. Let what's inside you rise to the surface. It won't happen overnight. It won't always make sense, and it won't be easy. But nothing worth having ever comes easily. I love you all. Stay patient, stay present. Peace.